folks. So today I'm going to do something a little bit different. So far I've been focusing more on drums and getting back into drumming. But actually my first instrument was the piano. I took piano lessons for 10 years, starting in starting in the second grade when I was about 7. And actually this year I started teaching my 7-year-old niece piano to get the next generation going. And I don't really play all that much anymore. And one of the things, my best showcase piece was Chopin's Raindrop Prelude, his 15th Prelude, which I learned in high school as a junior, and I took it to a competition. I got a 1 at state, which is the highest recognition you can get. It basically means I played it on stage on a grand piano, completely memorized and absolutely perfectly, note for note and with emotion. So it feels like a rather enormous and arduous task to rehabilitate that song, and it's something I'd like to do, and so I'm gonna practice that a little bit and see where I am. And usually if I haven't played a song in a while, I might just try to play the whole thing straight through and not really stop and work on a particular section or something. So that's what I'm gonna do today. And you'll notice the first part of it I probably get through pretty smoothly. And I'm not sure exactly why that stuck in my brain better than the rest of it, or is it maybe just because we typically learn songs in the order of the song, right, from beginning to end. But I probably practiced the first part more than the others. Plus it gets harder, frankly, with some key changes and things later on in the piece. So we'll see how this goes. And if you're curious, the camera is literally on the xylophone next to my drum set, so this is all pretty much the same area. I just turned around a little bit. Let's see. And the HVAC turned on, so I want to make sure you can hear this. Feels a little loud, but we'll try. Well, as you can see, I've got a bit of a long ways to go. It's really funny. I mean, this is actually literally the sheet music that I learned on, and it has all the notations from my teacher from high school. Some of which I think are helpful, some of which I wonder if maybe aren't, because I'm trying to process that and sort of remember that, and I might have even developed different instincts or interpretations. Well, okay, so a couple things. One is the passage in the beginning, that theme is repeated several times, so that's one of the reasons that's a little more familiar. Although every time it changes a little. You may have noticed like the way out of the theme gets more complex every time. So that's why I really got hung up at the end there, which is funny because I used to really be able to nail this every time. Some fancy finger work. Like a very strange, you don't see, it's literally 10 notes strung together across 2 beats. So there's that. It's funny. I love this keyboard. I bought this years ago. This is a Korg SV1. I think Korg, in my opinion, makes the best keybed that feels like a piano. It's weighted. I grew up playing a real piano. I had a keyboard that didn't feel like a piano for a long time, so I love this one. The only flaw of this is, as you saw, the favorite. If I'm really like pressing into the notes, which is arguably not great form, it's really easy to press a couple of these buttons, which could switch the sound. Anyway, what else did I want to mention? Well, I said I wasn't really going to stop and pick away at things, and yet I did stop a lot, because the key thing when practicing piano, or probably any instrument or a lot of things, is if you make a mistake, you do want to stop and play it correctly. You don't necessarily have to stop a long time or repeat it. That would be a way of like really isolating it and going into a deep practice. But you don't want to let a mistake lay there, because your brain will remember it that way. And so that's why I paused a lot, just to make sure I played it correctly. So that way next time I should have fewer of those. Like those will stick in my muscle memory, my brain memory, however you want to describe it. So yeah, that was fun. Thanks for joining me at this, the inaugural piano edition of Practice Makes Purpose. And we'll see you soon.